And one thing I will say, and I still operate this way, is I don't chase the dollar. I chase the experience for the client, and then the money comes.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a backward process. I think if you get into real estate for the money, there's not a big opportunity to be successful because you're doing it for the wrong reasons.
Today we have Ragan McKinney, broker and owner of Ragan McKinney Real Estate. Ragan has been selling real estate since 2015. During her first year, she was recognized as the Southern Ohio Association of Realtors Elite Club Rookie of the Year, and every year since has received the Platinum Sales Award. Her team has also been awarded the SOAR Top Sales Team 5 years running. She is currently ranked as the third highest producing agent in the Cincinnati MLS according to Cincinnati Real Producers. Ragan's career sales volume is nearly $500 million, and in 2024 alone, her volume was over $110 million. Welcome to the show, Ragan McKinney.
Thank you so much for having me. That's exciting. I feel like I'm excited to be here.
Take a breath, man.
Yeah.
I need one.
There you go.
Powerhouse.
Well, thank you so much for being here. I feel like I've known you forever, but
You have. We have.
Yeah, I think when we featured you was like 2021, I think.
Ish. Yep.
January of 21.
Ish.
And yeah, somewhere around there. Because I remember the photo shoot next. You had just repainted your building and everything like that. And the office was beautiful. So
Thank you.
it's amazing what you're doing out east on the east side of Cincinnati. And I kind of want to just dive right in because before we go into the business, though, let's talk about you and how you got into this because I think, what was it, 2016, 2015 you got licensed?
2015.
So you haven't been doing this a whole long time, but you're crushing it, and it's been really, really cool to see. So what did you do before real estate, and then your motivation to get into real estate?
True story. So I was working in a deli. So I went to college for 4 years. I did communications and business management. I worked at Channel 9 News. I worked at Clear Channel, which was KISS FM.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to be in that industry. And then I realized it wasn't exactly for me. The motto was, if it bleeds, it leads. I'm not really like I'm more of a positive person. So that wasn't my cup of tea. And come out of college, got married, had 3 kids, started working in a deli. And then you just blink and 15 years goes by. And I was thinking about this on the ride in this morning, what made me start. And it was, I went through a divorce. I was, my husband was the primary breadwinner, so the deli was supplemental money. And when I went through the divorce, I became the primary, force of, of funding I didn't have any money. I was getting behind on my house payment. I didn't have money for my kids' lunches. The school would call. There was a teacher there that would always help. So I have a very supportive family, but it's kind of like, this is the situation. You need to figure it out. And
Right.
I'm so grateful for that because I think if I had people jumped in and helped me, I might still be at the deli, which I did love, and I met a lot of people. But that was where it forced me to make a change. And I can remember exactly what it looked like outside the day it was in February when I went to bed crying. And I woke up and I said, I'm going to make a change. I was either going to be a nurse or I was going to get into real estate, right? Two very different things.
Yeah.
No kidding.
And I prayed about it, and I don't like blood, so real estate, here we come.
Yeah.
I signed up for Hondros. I had a babysitter for 3 weeks. So I did the 3-week course in person. And then that would have been in like March, April-ish. I couldn't start selling until my kids were out of school because I didn't have sitters. So I started in July. And, the rest is history.
There you go.
So, yeah.
Man. So, I mean, that's kind of cool. Like just thinking about your story a little bit, that's kind of cool. Like you're blessed to have the support you have, but you're also blessed that the support kind of let you figure things out too. Like, you're floating, and I think of that sink or swim type of, analogy, and like you can float in limbo and be here and just be stagnant and kind of go through the motions. But, that one night where you're like, man, I really feel like here's not necessarily my bottom, but here's my thought process of where I want to be and what I want to do with my life. So let's go, so like, kudos to the support for kind of recognizing that too. And then, giving you the leverage to push yourself to make a decision like that, because that's not easy. Like,
no, it's not. And I didn't have a lot of support when I made that decision, and my parents are fantastic. They are
Sure.
like my biggest fans. But I do remember my dad, when I said I was going to sell real estate, when I went into the office and did all my paperwork and come home, he's like, "Did you make any money this week?"
Yeah.
Now I'm like, ask me that,
Yeah.
So I'm grateful that they pushed me in a way that I had to figure it out.
Sure. That's great. And then, so when you started off, like what kind of, July, you start to roll into it. I forget what the numbers are, and I don't quote me on any of this, but like the first 5 years of a real estate career are crucial. And the first 2 years, like 8 out of 10 real estate agents fall off. So like, how was the first year or so of your career diving into it? Were you still working at the deli as well to supplement, or how did that whole thing look?
So yes, I was still working at the deli to supplement, but I treated it as a full-time job. So if you ask me, how did my success happen so quickly, is there was no plan B for me.
Sure.
There was no backup plan. I think a lot of times when people get licensed and they have the thought process, it's extra money, or it's for vacation money, or if it's for something specific. For me, this is how I'm going to feed my kids. This is how I'm going to pay my mortgage. So no backup plan, no plan B. I worked at the deli, and then anytime I wasn't at the deli, I was, at the office learning from people, begging to please let me do your open houses.
Sure.
Let me go with you on showings, teach me. And so I could start to accumulate my own clients.
Yeah. So where'd you start to see the shift from, I don't know if I'm ever going to sell a house, to now we're starting to roll and the snowball's getting a little bigger, and now you're like, all right, I'm leaving the deli. I'm full blown, like I'm able to make a lot of money, doing this job. I'm supporting my family. Like, how long did it take you just like into your real estate career to get to that point?
So I started working at the first brokerage in June or July of 2015. I had done several deals in the first 6 months.
Nice.
And I was getting, a lot of positive feedback from that brokerage. I was getting a lot of accolades. So I was like, oh man, I like this. And then the money started to roll in. And one thing I will say, and I still operate this way, is I don't chase the dollar. I chase the experience for the client, and then the money comes.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a backward process. I think if you get into real estate for the money, there's not a big opportunity to be successful, because you're doing it for the wrong reasons. So my first 6 months, I was very, very successful compared to most agents, but it wasn't for any kind of special sauce. It was the fact that I didn't have a plan B.
Yeah.
I didn't have a backup plan. I was making $10 an hour at the deli, and I had 3 kids that I needed to feed, and a mortgage payment I didn't want to be foreclosed on.
Right.
So I think it's having the mentality of, if I don't have an appointment, you still go to the office. If, I don't have a closing, you still go to the office. Like, you're chasing clients. You're trying to develop new relationships. It needs to be treated like a full-time job.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Any questions so far?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think, so we've seen obviously some of your journey here from when you first got started, and your why was like, I've just got to make ends meet here. And I'm always curious to know, has that, obviously it has shifted because your circumstances have shifted. So what does your why look like today? What gets you excited to either go into the office or to go meet that new client, or what gets you out of bed in the morning now?
So I am blessed to love what I do. And I know it sounds like some kind of social media meme, but I always say, if you want to torture me, put me in front of the TV, because I do not like to watch TV. I love what I do. I love helping people. I love the outcome. To ask me what my why is on a deeper level would be, I want to leave a legacy. So I want there to be generational wealth for my kids. And I don't necessarily mean just monetary, like, yes, that's important, but generational wealth to me is opportunity. I think sometimes, like, if you can start on a solid foundation, like, I want my kids to be better than I am. So my why is my kids.
Yeah. Well, and I think correct me if I'm wrong, are any of your kids working with you now?
Yes, my oldest 20.
I was going to
Sophia.
say, I thought so, because I mean, that's another, like, I look at that as generational wealth too. Like, you're not just creating, a brand for her to grow with the business. You're also creating memories with her
Right.
while you're working.
Oh, there's memories being
Yeah, I'm sure they're not always positive. Like,
I would love for her to be a fly on the wall right now.
You call me Ragan when we're at work, honey.
Actually, it's opposite. Believe
it?
it or not, I will say, just, what do I say in this situation? And I'll just say, hey, mom said. She's like, and she will never, because I'm remarried and we have different last names. When people call, they have no idea until closing when they walk in, and she looks just like me.
Yeah.
Is that your kid? And I whispered that, but is that your kid? And I'm like, yes. They've had a whole transaction, which is 30 to 45 days, and the client has zero idea, unless they know us,
Sure,
that it's my kid.
That's
so no,
awesome.
she'll be like, Reagan. Reagan said.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Too funny.
Yeah.
It's professional too. I like that.
It's
like,
very, yeah.
How's that balance been with the family dynamic now that it's in the business? Because I say this to couples in real estate all the time. I'm like, how do you do it? I could never work with my wife.
So at Ragan McKinney Real Estate, everybody has their own seat on the bus.
Yeah.
And I respect that. So I don't dip into her, my social media coordinators here who I'm pointing to, but I don't get into her seat on the bus. My operations, I don't get into her seat on the bus. Sophia's a transaction coordinator. I don't get into her seat on the bus. I do have to refrain, because the in-house staff, works Monday through Friday, 8 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
My hours are not that. So
Right.
I have to remember that I should not
Yeah.
text her at 7:00, when she's upstairs and I'm in the kitchen cooking dinner.
Yeah.
Hey, did you do this? So she's a very sweet kid.
It's a fine balance.
Yeah, it's a fine balance.
That's awesome.
I'm the problem.
I mean, but you got to drive the train. Somebody's got to be the
problem.
conductor.
I'm the problem, but
But-
she handles it well. And I don't want to say this because she's my kid, but she just turned 20. She bought her first house at 19 by herself, no co-signers, 100% on her own. Very mature. She's a great asset.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And that's the hardest thing to find when you're growing a team. I mean, you've obviously grown a great brokerage, which was cool to see. But as you're growing that brokerage and you have your team involved with that, it's hard to find quality people that work well with your systems. And the fact that you've been able to do that is phenomenal. So
I have an amazing team for sure.
yeah, kudos.
Well, speaking of your team, so let's go back a little bit and think from 2015. We got Ragan getting into real estate, and then now we've got Ragan McKinney Real Estate, and you've got your awesome team. At what point did you see that as the goal, or what point did that become the goal? From being, a single agent to what you've got now?
It was never a goal. No, it just happened. So when I first started real estate, I was in survival mode.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like I was trying to build a big company. I wasn't trying to build a big brand. Even when I decided, when I knew I needed to make a change, wasn't based off of my dreams and goals, but based off of what my business was doing, like what it was doing within the business. And I got so busy that I couldn't handle everything. So I was at a point where I either needed to scale back or I was going to lose business because I couldn't deliver the experience. So
Right.
when I first started, I was very hands-on, very, involved in I was doing everything.
Yeah.
And my days looked like, showing and listing, all day, appointments, developing relationships, and then was staying up all night long.
Contracts.
Doing the paper, the transaction side of it. And about a year and a half in, I crashed and burned, and I pulled into the former brokerage, and I was going to turn my license in because I hadn't seen my kids and I was missing all their sporting events. So it wasn't I did it to feed my kids and keep a roof over their head. And then it turned into, I wasn't chasing the dollar. I was trying to help everybody.
Sure.
And when I realized like my experience was it was going downhill, if I either needed to grow or I needed to scale back. So then I hired my first assistant.
Nice.
Yeah, and I think that's super important because a lot of people who are successful in real estate have the hustle, especially the first 5 or 6 years of being in the industry, and you make sacrifices for that hustle, and a lot of it people don't see, the behind the scenes when it comes to the family life. That dynamic takes a back seat because you're trying to support and grow.
Yeah.
And then, when the time comes and it's like, okay, we're in a position where we can actually find a balance now. We have the pieces, the assets in place for everybody to be successful and still see their family. And then some people think you're taking your foot off the gas, and it's like, no, we're just saving each other, you know, at this point.
Yes.
You know, that's what I always see when I see people going on vacation. I'm something like, good.
Yes.
Like, you guys go to Norris Lake. I'm like, good. Go to Norris Lake. You deserve to go to Norris Lake.
Yep.
And you know, everybody deserves to have a vacation or be with their family when the time comes, you know, and I think that's important.
It is important. And I think what's more important, if you're treating it like a full-time job, you know, if you work in a traditional corporate setting, you get days off, you get vacations, so it's okay. And let's just be real. I'm not in the life-saving business. Right. I'm in the real estate business. Yeah. Nobody's going to die if I don't call you back at 9 o'clock on a Tuesday. Right. That same issue is going to be there at 8 a.m. when the office opens tomorrow. And that doesn't just happen. You know, we've kind of set some trends in the last couple years, and I'm noticing some other realtors, after lots of backlash, they're following suit. But, you know, if an offer comes in on a Friday after 5 p.m., we don't present it until Monday. There's lots of benefits to the seller for that, as well as, you know, being able to recognize my office is closed. Now, I do appointments and I work evenings and weekends, but my staff does not. So we can handle our business. And, you know, a lot of times my competitors would be like, well, you're not going to get Ragan on a Saturday. Well, that's not true. You are. But, like, we're not in the life-saving business. Right. We are realtors, and there's nothing that's going to happen on a Saturday that's not going to be there on a Monday.
Sure. Yeah. And I think setting those expectations with everybody you work with and everybody, you know, clients, realtors, anybody, lenders, anybody, then that's a good thing, because you're obviously not a micromanager, so you don't need that lender to be like, all right, I'm giving you a daily update. It's like, please don't. Just do your thing.
Do your thing.
Let me know if you need me, you know? Right. So that's awesome. I have a lot of appreciation for people who don't micromanage, and I think that's Daniel's done a really good job with his business, is being able to facilitate growth with his people and let them run with it. So now let's dive into the team and the brokerage and kind of get into like the growth aspects and where you want to take it and what your goals are. I mean, we're into 2025. Where do you see the business going, as far as not projections or anything like that with real estate, but like you guys and your team, where do you guys want to do? And actually, let me ask you this real quick. So Ragan McKinney Realty, do you have anybody that works for you that is their solo agent, or is everybody a part of your team?
Everybody's a part of the team.
Okay.
And you know, we are a team, and I use the team, but really when I present ourselves, it's Ragan McKinney Real Estate, we're real estate advisors. Yeah. You know, so I don't sell that we're realtors, or I don't sell that we're real estate agents, but we're real estate advisors. And when I hire, I make sure that they are trained to be a real estate advisor. So, you know, we're very selective. I am not looking to grow the brokerage with agents. Right. I want to grow. As far as to answer your question, how do we want to do with it? I want to grow. The first thing for me that's important is the culture of my business, understanding like who's right for the brokerage, and then what does our ideal client look like, and being able to identify both of those. You know, I've been very blessed, and we've had a lot of success, and I'm very grateful. But now I want to take it up a notch, and with the level of experience that we can give to the client. So boutique style firm is what I'm after, where it's, you know, a very good, you know, we always say I want to give a white glove 5-star experience. So that's our goals for 2025. That's
great.
And obviously
so just honing in on the service side, which is cool. I think that's what makes you more of a relational real estate agent anyways, and not transactional. You know, like, even though you guys do a boatload of transactions, it's I think the reason why you do that is because of the relationships you've been able to build over the years.
You know, we have great clients. I have a great team that makes me look good. Yeah. I say that's one of the first things I say when I go into an appointment is I have a team that makes me look amazing. But we don't pay for any leads. Yeah. So we're 100% organic and referral based clients.
That's awesome.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, I think you've built such. I mean, I look at your posts and stuff like that, and you see people from all over, you know, Cincinnati just commenting and saying, like, you know, asking for this, or we're looking for that, you know, and people are like, oh, what do you think out here? Or like, look out here. Like, I just think like Ragan McKinney, the real estate brokerage, has just kind of exploded with help from your clients too, because everybody seems to be throwing in advice and help. And, you know, when you're looking for certain things, it's like, which obviously they're just throwing stuff out there, but at the same time, I just think that to have that fan base is pretty special.
I love it because I feel a connection with each and every one of my clients. Probably it could also be a downfall because when you become a client, you become a family member. And when you're a family member, sometimes my mama bear can come out. So if you're in the circle, you're in the circle. And if you're not, watch out. But I take my clients, I'm not looking for a transaction. I'm looking for a relationship.
Sure.
And we'll show you 100 houses. I that's not the preferred method because we have better ways to do that. But I want you to be happy, and I want you to be able to call me in 2 years if you're not happy, and I can get you out of it. I don't want to just sell you a house. I want to sell you an investment, and I want to know that it's a good investment, which goes back to being real estate advisors versus, tour guides.
Yeah. You want to talk about outside real estate? What you like to do outside or no?
Yeah, let's do it.
What are you thinking?
Yeah, I like that.
Do you have any questions?
I don't have a whole lot of hobbies. I can give you a couple.
I was going to say, yeah.
It's like real estate.
But I love the fact that you're able to transition to more of a balanced, and that's part of the reason why people start their own thing too, is what can I do to balance my job and stay with, the family or vacation or do whatever, So what do you like to do outside of real estate? I know that it's hard because you're kind of always on, but
so you mentioned Norris earlier. I'm a big Norris Lake girl. Love the lake. That's my happy place. So we spend a lot of time in the summer there. I love my dogs. Okay. So anybody that follows me on social media knows I love my kids, but I really love my dogs. I love to exercise, work out. I like to read.
Are you still one of those 4 a.m.ers?
No, it's 5:45.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
When we first 40, met, you were like, I'm doing the 4 a.m. thing. I'm like, you're crazy.
I was. And actually, my husband and I talked about that last night. I was like, he's like, I'm going to have to start working out in the evenings. Because he gets up at 6. And I was like, let's just get up an hour earlier. We could do 5. Yeah. And he's like, I can't do it. So
I'm out. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like a 5:45, 6 a.m.
Perfect.
But yeah. But I do. I love to
just drives me crazy when people are up at 4. I'm like, more power to you for being able to do it. But when we first met, she's like, yeah, every day 4 a.m.
I was religious.
You're wild. That is early.
But I also,
you also didn't have time.
I didn't have time, and I had little kids, and I didn't have the team structure. So if I wanted, in order to, you have to fill your own cup before you can fill other people's, and that was the only time I had. So it wasn't like I enjoyed it. I mean,
it was just the only option.
It was the only option, and now my kids are bigger. I don't have little kids, so everybody's self-sufficient. So I get a couple more hours of sleep in the morning.
Perfect. We'll be there someday, Ben.
Someday.
Yeah.
Not anytime soon.
Don't rush it. Don't rush it.
So the Norris Lake thing, nothing else though?
So I think as far as hobbies, getting into what else I do, when I talk about Norris Lake, I go down there as vacation, but I feel like I'm always kind of in real estate brain, which is super annoying to my family because it's like, I sold that, or every time we go on vacation, I'm pulling up, to see what's for sale in the neighborhood. And we did just build a new house at Norris, so we've been working with the builder and designing it. That's been a lot of fun. So that's a hobby to me as well, even though it's real estate related. But
and your husband's in construction too, isn't he?
Yes. Yeah.
So he's got a good eye of.
Yeah.
That's such a great resource to have. Not even for building your own stuff, but for your clients. Hey, got a question, help me out with this.
Well, and he's great with, if we need subs or if somebody's looking to get a roof done or they need HVAC, somebody that builds custom houses has access to people that,
that's great.
A little more quality.
That's wonderful.
It's a great resource.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of cool hobbies. I do have a bucket list. I'd like to skydive. I had scuba diving, but I scratched that after I didn't make it snorkeling. So I was off the boat, and when I put those goggles on and the fish felt like it was in my goggles, I was like, this is not for me. I'm going to photograph from the boat.
100%.
But yeah, I want to try to do one thing a year that scares me. So next year is my skydiving.
Oh.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
You want to go?
We'll watch you from the ground, from the nice sturdy ground.
Yep.
Yeah. People do it every day.
I know. Yeah.
We could make it like a real producer,
you just do your thing.
Agent thing. You always have these great parties.
We could have an event where
everybody jumps out of planes.
All crazy.
This is what real estate does to you.
Yeah.
Makes you jump out of a plane.
Yeah.
This is not exciting enough. Let's do this.
Let's do this.
I can't do that. No, I will not.
We'll go do the indoor skydiving.
Yeah, let's do that. We should do that.
It's actually pretty fun.
Is it?
Yeah.
Very cool.
I'm sure it's
I feel
absolutely.
like, Deanna,
should
I feel like you would have, like, I feel like you would skydive.
Yeah.
You look like an adventurer.
You look like an
Well,
outdoorsy adventure guy.
Call me when you go. I'll see how
You'll
I'm feeling
think
that
about
day.
He'll do the video.
Oh,
We'll have Braden jump out with you too. So let's kind of, if you want to dive into advice, you want to do that portion?
Yeah,
there?
let's dive in. So we always love to ask our guests for advice. You can give advice for other agents, maybe who are new in the business, or maybe not. And then also advice for buyers and sellers, just kind of in the market today. But before we do, we always like to give a thank you to Back to Back Ministries, whose awesome studio we're in here. They let us use it very generously. So Back to Back Ministries is a global nonprofit orphan care organization with their sights set on providing care for today and hope for every tomorrow. From Cincinnati, Ohio to Hyderabad, India, staff teams around the world are stepping into hard stories and choosing to stay. To learn more about the work Back to Back does, how you can get involved, and why a global team won't stop until every child is known and loved, you can visit backtoback.org today.
Yeah, we appreciate them letting us use their podcast studio.
great organization.
They're wonderful. So
Absolutely. So that being said, what kind of advice do you have for our listeners?
So, advice for buyers. I don't foresee the prices going down, so don't wait. Don't be afraid of the interest rates. Those can always be renegotiated. I think it's always a good time to buy, even if you're renting. You're paying 100% interest, so like 7% is better than 100.
Mm-hmm.
For sellers, my advice would be, I think it's twofold. One, make sure you go with somebody that's experienced. I always tell clients if they're interviewing agents, it doesn't have to be me, but make sure you have somebody that has a full-time business that can cater, because it's not a part-time job, and making sure that they have, the professional photography, the marketing, and all of the things that go along with that help to get you a higher net dollar. For new agents, I really only have two secret sauce. One is, answer your phone in real time. I think realtors get a really bad rap for not returning phone calls. So call people back in real time. And the second thing would be to do what you say you're going to do. If you tell somebody you're going to do something, do it. And when I train my team, I call them my RMRE family. I don't like to call them employees because it feels weird. But when we train, the old saying is, under promise and over deliver. Well, we don't do that. We over promise and over deliver. Nice. And that's the basis we operate on. So do what you say you're going to do and call people back. It's really not that hard.
Yeah. Well, Ragan, this has been an awesome conversation. Thank you so much for coming on with us this morning, and looking forward to see what you do in the years to come.
I love that. Thank you for having me. This was fun. It was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Congratulations on all your success. It's been really cool to see the growth.
Absolutely.
I think we've like I said, we've met 4 or 5 years ago, and even then you had just started the brokerage right around then, and to see where it's come from then until now has been truly impressive.
Yep.
You're just crushing it. So,
thank you. I'm very blessed, and I have to stop sometimes and think, is this my life?
Yeah.
I can't believe this is real life,
Seriously.
Going from how do I feed my kids non-cheese sandwiches to the life we live. So very grateful, very blessed. And
I want you to think about that when you're jumping out of a plane this year.
I'm going to do
it.
Well, I think you have to do something with age. You have to do something that scares you every now and then. And I think one thing per year is, for me, it was going to be scuba diving.
Yep.
And we went to Grand Cayman, and I chickened out. I did go on the boat, but then I tried to snorkel, and I also chickened out. But I tried it, right? It scared me. It still scares me. So we'll try again.
Mission accomplished.
There we go. Well, thank you, Ragan, for everything and continued success.
I appreciate it. This was fun.
Thanks for listening to the Cincinnati Real Producers Podcast, powered by Nextdoor Photos. We do this every week, so be sure to subscribe so you can follow along. If you liked our conversation, leave us a review. We'd love to hear your thoughts.